How you been, man? It's been a while.
Fine. Very busy. Yeah, I really have not been being much of a content creator as of late, just because I've been so busy. But
Well, it
with
depends
just
on what
work
you
shit.
define as content, right?
Right. I think we should just stop using the word content in general. Actually, I think it's a bad word.
Are we going to replace it with slop? How's the
Well,
slop life going?
I feel like content already implies slop in a way, right?
Okay, yeah.
Content is a horrible term.
I love it.
Content. Oh, it's just like content.
Let
Just
me
like
look
could
up
be
the edit.
anything. It's just filling. It's just filling in your Twinkie.
Yeah,
Just
it is.
content.
It's like hummus. Yeah. What is it? Content. Oh, content. No. Other one. That which is
Exactly. Exactly.
contained. Yeah, that which is contained. So something that's, yeah, fills something else. Yeah, it is slop, basically.
Yeah. Just
Filler.
like slop filler. Right. Exactly.
Contained. Huh. Well, okay, so you're not into that anymore.
Into what?
Content.
No, I am. I've just been busy.
Just with work or your business?
Yeah, just yeah, doing agency stuff, which
Okay.
is great, but it's
Is it
yeah.
still Will Agency?
Yeah.
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 Are you
Are
guys
we recording right now? Are we
I
on? Is
it
this
feels like, well, I'm always on,
yeah.
but we
We can
can we
be
can do
on.
it. Yeah, okay. Good.
I don't care. Whatever you want. It's fine.
Cuz I like the banter. But
Yeah.
cuz that's the springboard for the whatever happens beyond content.
For the Jew talk.
Oh, well,
Everything is just a springboard for Jew talk.
it seems to just drag everything into itself. There's some interesting discourse around. Discourse is another word, just like the same thing as
Yeah.
content. But Elon and no Hunter Ash and Nick Land and Elon were in a discussion about the strategic shallowness of the JQ and right wing discourse.
Strategic shallowness. I saw Nick Land saying, "Go be friends with base Jews." I saw that.
Yeah,
But
is there like
then
a list somewhere?
yeah, well,
Uh,
that's why I'm trying to get on the list. I was like, can I be on the list? Why am I not on this list? I should be number one on this list. But yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
no,
what's going on with that.
okay. Um, but did you guys get any ads in the Super Bowl?
No, oh my God.
No.
We're not even close to that level,
Okay.
dude. I mean, Super Bowl ads are a sort of ancient, ancient practice. They're like really
Hmm.
outdated. They're extraordinarily expensive and stupid. And no, we don't really do a lot of TV ads. We're a branding and content studio, so we do a lot more social stuff, a lot more brand videos and email campaigns, and the stuff people actually really consume. Whereas
Hmm.
in today's world, the Super Bowl ad is a really outdated sort of thing that just huge companies do. And that's why they're so bad. That's why it's always like three celebrities. It's like three celebrities in a pun. It's like three celebrities saying a pun that somehow implicates the name. And then it's like, oh, a shark pops up because it's a shark pun. I'm trying to avoid saying goat because even saying goat is now so outdated
It's
that I can't
coded.
even talk about it. But yeah, so
Huh.
it's like really bad. It's Super Bowl ads are extremely poorly done, and they're
Was there
sort of like a
any one of
dinosaur.
this batch that you thought edged?
Man, I kept, man, you know what? I didn't even do my like normal due diligence of like watching each one again and like commenting on them. So I can't even remember. I mean, they're
Dude,
so
that's
forgettable. I
basically
literally
free
can't remember.
content for
I
you.
know, right? This is what I'm saying. Content. I don't do content anymore. Yeah, no, right. It's like, no, I do the only ads I've been semi impressed with recently are the AI ads are pretty good. Both the companies do pretty good ads that are like pretty well thought out and pretty strong. Oh, there was the one. Yeah, sorry. There was the one must have been Claude ad of it was a woman talking in sort of as an AI explaining something, and then she's an older lady, and then she starts talking about dating older women singles in her area. That was pretty well done, and it was like ads are coming to AI, but not to Claude. So that was like A plus conceptual, surprising, well written, well produced.
Hmm.
A grade advertising. And I'm pretty sure their agency is, they have one of the big ones. I think ChatGPT is Wyden Kennedy, and Claude is probably, whatever the other big one is these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
There's
So
that. There was
those
that
have been good.
disturbing one with who was the actor? Was it Channing Tatum or something? Anyways, he
Tating Channing. Tating. That's
Tating
right.
Chang Ching,
Ching, ching,
or
ching, ching.
maybe it was the guy who played. No, it was the guy who played Thor. I like that
Oh,
actor.
yeah. Chris
And it was
Hemsworth.
about, yeah, Helmsworth, and
Yeah, he's
he
cool.
was like Siri or Amazon's AI was trying to kill him.
Oh, no. Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of interesting and stuff.
Was that a good one? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's disturbing because it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, that's all of our fears, right? But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
said something interesting about there was this little hint of something interesting about saying goat is outdated. The
Oh,
relationship between time and relevance in your industry is really heightened. I mean, talk about
hmm.
high time preference. How does one develop a sense of what is relevant, what's not relevant, what's cringe or old? Like the dating, like if there's a carbon dating in advertising, some of it escapes it, but most of it just composts almost immediately.
Well, I have two things to say about this. One is this is not really how it's always been. It didn't used to be that you needed to have some hyper contextual, stupid
Okay.
thing where it's Chappelle Roan because you vaguely know who that is, plus some saying 6-7, right? Chappelle Roan saying 6. Oh my God, the best Super Bowl! Could you imagine if we could get Chappelle Roan to say 6-7 on TV? Like that sort of calculus that's new. And I don't think that
Huh.
that's necessarily the fault of anybody. I mean, we live in that world right now where everything's cheap, hypercontextual, fast. Everybody forgets about it in 2 seconds. And that's just the way the cycle works, right? So I think that part of it is just the nature of information now.
Mm,
But that's not always how it's been. It used to be if you were Wyden Kennedy back in the day, you were marinating on your Nike commercial really outside of the news cycle. You weren't caring about what was actually happening.
hmm.
Whereas now that type of news peggy thing is really, really preferred. And I think that, that it sucks and it's cheap, but it's also like that's just kind of the way things are. We live in this deep fried reference laden context art world now, for better or worse. I mean, sometimes it's hilarious, sometimes it's great, but yeah, I think that's kind of why that's happening.
Yeah. How do you guys strategize through that or around that? Or what are some strategies when because I mean your Twitter handle is disgrace propaganda. So we're talking about
Mhm.
advertisement. We're also talking about propaganda, but we're talking about information, but we're talking about
Yeah.
content and how people are engaging with content and stuff. So there's this landscape, like this mimetic landscape that you're manipulating. You're trying to be a
Mhm.
master wizard, right? That's what an ad man is.
I'm not trying to be a master wizard, and I don't.
Hmm.
So there's kind of a difference between growth hacking, right, and
Hmm.
propaganda. Um, and growth hacking is like that's when you're trying to be a master wizard of the algorithm, and you know exactly how to do this and this, which will lead to
Yeah.
virality and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
that to me is a lot less interesting than telling the story of things, simplifying the story of things in a genuine way,
Hmm.
not even so much for the customer as for the company. I mean, I think that people struggle with who they are, right? People really struggle with who they are. And that's never more true than with companies. Companies struggle with who they are a lot. And I use an example all the time in my sort of workshops where we set this up for brands. Do you remember something happened with Facebook in even just before 2016, where Facebook was this company that was sort of sitting around, and at a certain point, everybody suddenly started hating Facebook.
Yeah.
And it was because they were like, wait a second, they're selling our data. This was the whole
Yeah.
era of if you're
Well, and
not the
every
yeah,
single update to the platform made it worse too. I mean,
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
bundle of
yeah.
crap
Right. This
going
one,
on for
this
them.
was when we started getting hit with targeted ads, and we were like, "What the hell is this?" We Google one thing, and then suddenly we're getting
Yeah.
ads for this. Um, and everybody, this was the era of everybody saying the refrain: "If you're not paying for the product, you are the product." Right.
Yeah.
So Facebook had this whole existential crisis where everybody realized, "Oh, Mark Zuckerberg is not your friend. He's actually completely exploiting you." And there was sort of this realization. So in response to that, Facebook got a branding agency just like ours to come around and give them their new what we call single-minded message. So like your core identity of what is your brand, what do you stand for, why do you exist? And the thing that they chose was Facebook connects people. We are the grand connector of
Yeah.
human beings. Who could be mad? Could be mad at a company that we just connect human beings together, and their logo became Meta, which is like a connection thing. Their conference is called Connect. Their career services thing is called Connect. For a long time, every
Yeah.
single interview Zuckerberg gave was, "We think human connection is a human right." It's all the bullshit about we're just the connecting thing.
Yeah.
And did it work? Maybe. I mean, who really cares? But it did at least. Again, that's almost more important for Facebook. It's more important so that those people get to wake up every day and say, you know what? I'm getting paid an obscene amount of money. My everybody hates me at my dinner parties, but you know what? I really just believe in the power of human connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
And so when you're dealing with companies in today's world that are just, they're basically armies, right? These armies need to have they need drums, and they need a feeling of why we're here and what we're doing. And I'd say that that's really what we provide, even more so than all the other crap that we do, which is videos and websites and art and
Hmm.
social media, email growth campaigns. We do all that stuff. But I would say the thing that I most fixate on is getting everybody in the company to believe something, about why you're here and like what are you doing that actually matters in the world.
Mm-hmm. I met a McDonald's higher up, some guy who was in the bureaucracy of McDonald's, and this is a few years ago. And McDonald's has this reputation of being crap, right?
Yeah.
But he said, it's dependable. Like if I'm in Bangkok or if I'm in, this country or that country, I know that I can trust this food. Like I
Yeah.
know that like this is the place where I can go and I can eat and I can rely on this product. And
Yeah.
his way of seeing it, I'm like, oh, okay, I understand that. But now that you're saying that, it's like that's what the company tells itself.
Yeah.
That's how the people believe in what they're doing, and
Yeah.
there's a moral
Right.
backbone that they
Exactly.
have.
Correct. Because nobody wants to go to work and feel like I'm just an amoral piece of crap, right? I mean,
No.
nobody wants to think that. Whether and this some things really are that. I mean, McDonald's. I don't know. I have kind of a warm, fuzzy spot for McDonald's
Well,
in
they're
my heart.
working.
You know what I mean?
Their ad people are working on it.
I'm doing that. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think this was just a few years after that Super Size Me movie, so they
You're right.
probably had to respond to that. And that's really interesting how public criticism can reshape a company because the company has to respond to these points of criticism and then reconfigure who they are
Right.
based on this conversation with the public,
Well,
which
and
they have
isn't
no
it
control
funny?
over.
It's so funny how sometimes that seems to matter, right? And then other times, like companies treat us terribly. Like airlines treat you horribly. Like your cell phone provider, try to get any answer. I mean, we are
Mm.
really poorly treated by these companies
Yeah.
that we don't have a lot of choice over, really. I mean, of course, you have some choice, but, and it's funny how it's like some things become these huge like moments that need to be propagandized against, and then other things are just
Yeah.
we don't care,
Yeah.
whatever. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's weird. Like it's weird why I've never really totally understood why they decide that one thing is really important versus like not important.
Yeah, it is funny. Every time I try to do something on Comcast's website, it's the slowest, clunkiest thing. I'm like, you are the communication company, and you're the
Yeah.
shittiest communication infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
interesting that trade off.
It's really
How do
satanic,
you?
those things.
I think that there's a broader application to finding the identity of a company and then and drilling down into it. I don't know where you want to go or what you're really interested in right now because you say you're taking a break from content, which
I'm not I don't want to say
the
I'm
subtext of
taking
that
a
is
break, but
the subtext of that is politics, and the political domain that you walk around is this thing called the dissident right. And one thing that defines the dissident right's identity is its identity crisis is perpetual. It's always doesn't
mm,
know what it is, who it is. And the interesting thing following these different writers and thinkers and influencers and content creators is that it's personality driven, but there's different people that are trying to start something that's real. Like there's a lot of like attempt to start something that's real, and a lot of the energy and the direction is make it local, make it personal, make it something that's
yeah.
outside of this structure that's with these mitigating principalities and powers, right?
Praxis. Everybody wants praxis, as Dave
So,
Trading
so
says.
if we're talking about like a distributed pickup game of politic, how does identity form, and how do you persuade people to have an identity? Because in order for any sort of political action to happen, there has to be that those marching orders,
Yeah.
that motto, and stuff like that. So how does that happen?
I think it's about positive storytelling versus negative, right? And I think that the issue with the dissident right, here's my giant fear that haunts me and that I'm really worried is true. Look, when I was trying to be a writer in the mainstream, I was a writer for Vice, I was a writer for LA Weekly.
Hmm.
I wasn't very good when I started. Uh, I was good enough. I was good enough to write for these publications. I had interesting stuff to say. I was sort of a, effusive theater kid. I'm not an actual theater kid. My parents are theater people, but I was like, here's my thoughts. Here's my thoughts. Oh, my thoughts. You know what I mean? Like I was like dumb enough to think that anybody gave a shit what I was cared about what I was saying, which is you need that level of lack of self-awareness in order to even get there at all, right? So, but I never got any real success. I never got a call from an agent. I had some articles in some publications, right? But it's not that I never wrote for the New York Times. I never had any of these superficial indicators that I was any really good, right? Simultaneously, my political consciousness went to the right, as many did. I think I was telegraphing the fact that now we all know that a big part of the reason why I wasn't getting ahead is that I was not only a white dude but like a right-leaning white dude, that's just never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I found purchase on the right. Right, I did find purchase on the right, a lot of purchase, and I noticed that the purchase that I find in the right is when I'm complaining about the left.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what does that look like from an outside perspective? That looks like somebody who couldn't make it in the real game. So you went over to the game where you get paid to complain about the game that you didn't fucking make it in, right? That fucking terrifies me. I never want to be a paid complainer about the thing that I didn't make it in. That really fucking worries me. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be involved in that.
Why
because
simplify that?
It's pathetic. It's a pathetic existence. I mean, if you are a genuine rebel, right? If you are a genuine rebel against a system that has discriminated against you or is just a shitty system, that's fine. That's one thing. And that's one thing I'm down to do. That's probably what I was always meant to do, right? I was always meant to be a rebel against a more powerful system. That's cool. That's sexy. That's great. That's whatever. And there's a little bit of that where I'm a loser, right? I mean, like, punk rockers were losers. Black rappers were, losers in a way, right? They were losers, but they were losers. We see them as losers for unfair reasons, right? Not because they couldn't hack it, but because they didn't really have a chance otherwise, right? Whereas my fear is that the dissident right is just a bunch of people who couldn't hack it. They just couldn't figure out how to win the game over here. So instead, they kind of make their money complaining, and other people are like, I didn't make it either. So I'm going to give you money to complain to make me feel good about the fact that I didn't make it either. Like that fucking terrifies me because that just seems like a very pathetic existence to me.
I think
by the way,
no matter what,
I don't want you to see yourself in this at all. You're a genuine journalist. You are somebody who's curious about people. You're out there doing this. Is I don't want you to think that I'm like putting anything you do down at all, because I'm not. I'm genuinely not. You're a curious person. You're chronicling. You're growing. That's a totally different thing. I mean, people who are like making their buck bloviating politically about the left. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no matter what, that's going to be a facilitating factor. That's why I think it was really interesting that when Trump won his second term, that's when the the whole dissident sphere started to purity spiral and try to shake out between the neocons, basically, generally, broadly, you can call them the neocons. They're neocons. They're the people who were the disaffected liberals, the left me's, the people who couldn't hack in the system and then started complaining about the wokeness in the system and got a lot of traction. But then once that woke stuff on the surface was put away, then the not left started to attack itself and to draw all these different lines and stuff. But
totally,
because we were unified in this anti-woke project.
Yes. Right. Yep.
But beyond that, there's no unity. And so there is identity. There's individual identity. There's a lot of individual identities. And maybe because I'm investigating this on a person-to-person interview by interview level, I see these as all these different actors.
Yeah, you're seeing the different like little balkanized groups. Yeah.
And so, but I'm trying to see, well, what's this group identity? And then there's these labels that come in, like I think neocon is the best, like the James Lindsay's, the Konstantin Kissins, the Winston Marshalls, I guess Jordan Peterson's too. They want to correct that old order. And then there's people who, for shallow reasons, selfish reasons, or deep reasons, want to reconfigure the system or destroy the system in order to get something else going. And then there's just people who want to watch the world burn, and there's that resentment. So that resentment's just going to be there no matter what. Yeah. But beyond that, like, what is the positive story of a not left world?
And that's the problem. That is exactly the problem, is that when they're not throwing stones at a hilariously and completely idiotic woke regime, which is so, by the way, which was such an easy target, really the easiest target of all time. You know what I mean? Like, impossible to screw up making fun of guys in dresses. That's really hard to mess up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just an inherent...
it's inherently comedic. Yeah.
Right. So, like, this is the problem. This is the exact problem, is that you've identified it perfectly, is that these groups don't know how to shut the F up and come together around a shared vision of what do we stand for here. Yeah. Oh, because, as I said in that tweet that went viral recently, they are a decentralized network of complaint mechanisms. That's what they are. They're a decentralized network of hecklers' vetoes. Yes. So therefore, all they know how to do, it's like a hammer and a nail thing. It's like they're hammers, so everything's a nail. They don't know how to make a story about freedom, about equality, about the power of the human spirit, Ayn Randian glory. They don't know how to fucking do that because they're just reacting. They're reacting and
Yeah.
criticizing to look at the guy in the dress. So, what could we? I think you're asking me, what could the story be?
Yeah. Or how? Well, we could workshop the story, but what is the preconditions of creating that story in a distributed network?
Oh, what is wait? What? Oh, what is the preconditions? What do you mean by what is
Yeah.
the
Well, how do you
preconditions?
move people to to a place where they can start to facilitate the creation of a positive story? Right. What is the preconditions to get these people on the same page or relating to themselves productively without having a common enemy? Beyond a common enemy.
Right. Well, there's always going to be a common enemy. I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything wrong with having a common enemy in general. That's sort of inevitable. I think the closest thing that we had in this whole time was "Make America Great Again." I mean, that was a
Okay.
genius branding moment and a genius brand in general. Um, so "Make America Great Again" because we do have this notion in our hearts of America as the greatest country in the world, and I still
Yeah.
think we are. We're certainly the most powerful. But but again, of course, presumes that we're not anymore. It again sort of says we're
Yeah.
not doing so. We're not doing so hot. We're not
Yeah.
doing well, and we need to go back to a time where we felt like we were, when we felt like we were unassailably doing well. And so I think that was sort of the last time people could get on board. But again, man, MAGA, this is what any dissident right person who says they were like super pro MAGA is full of shit. They were too intellectual for that. MAGA is genuinely a Kulak grade, non-intellectual, real movement that happened from real ordinary people, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And all the intellectuals, after many years of kind of being like, I don't know, jumped in and were like, okay, I get it, right? So, what the online right wants to do is now have some thing that they can lead, that they can come up with that can unify people. But I don't know. I don't know what the preconditions are. That's a good question. I don't know actually. Like, I've never thought about like what you would need to have. I don't know.
I guess in your business, you work with companies. So people are paying you and being paid to work for a company. They're paying you to define their company, and everybody in the company is being paid to be there. Whereas in this open-ended, spaghetti factory of like content creators, like nobody's in charge. There's nobody who can convince anybody else what to do. There's people who can actually get shit done, which is what Trump did, and then respect follows. You need a minute?
Sorry.
You okay, man?
Yeah. No, I'm fine.
All right.
It was a hotel person.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Sorry. Keep going. Sorry about that.
Um,
You were saying I know what you were saying. You were saying we do companies, so it's a little more unified. This is just a whole
Yeah.
ecosystem that exists on its own.
Yes. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
then you have
Sorry,
these attractors, these influencers, these people who gather a following, and then there's no common cause. So even complaining about not having a common cause is a part of the slop machine now. And it's like, well, we don't know, so what are we doing? So and then you, by necessity, you have these breakout people, these people who were rebels, who were willing to not be woke. Was the first straining mechanism for a lot of these people who we're talking about. And then there's people who, again, are oriented back towards the system that became woke, or people who are oriented in a different way. And then there's a lot of incentives to to restart these cancellation campaigns, to be woke in effect, because I mean the Babylon Bee guys are just fascinating characters to me because they got their traction by making fun of things, and now they want to control discourse. And even though
It's
they say I don't want to control discourse, but they do.
It's crazy. I know. I can't believe it either. I mean, okay, let me just say two responses. One, we actually don't just do companies. We actually do a lot of, one, political causes that are coming out, right? We just did one called United by Nature, which is kind of the new conservation initiative. That was fun. And, that's kind of very DC-ish, and we did their launch campaign. It's kind of like conservation for young people kind of thing. And so we do politicking, and we do more than just companies. And another thing we do is like make media companies. And actually, we are going to be, I don't want to say too much, but there's a big project coming up that's going to be very much our own, that is going to be seeking to be media, like genuine media, not content, genuine content, not just pure propaganda, right?
Yeah. You were doing that with a state. With last time we spoke,
yeah,
it was like
we
Michigan
we helped launch. We basically did launch Michigan Enjoyer in Michigan, which was my favorite project we've ever done, because it was like culture media, And I'll tell you, the success of Michigan Enjoyer, which was very, you can see it now. They're doing great. They're so Michigan-y. They have great content. Here's what I will say. I think the solution is for us. It is not about attesting what the other side is doing. It's not about attesting, what if it was the other way? Like, could you imagine if we said what did they say about white people, about black people?
Yeah.
And it's not about going forward in time. It's not about, this is the future of AI. This is the magazine of the future. And it's not about going back. It's not about, let's return. Let's return to a time when, the black people were not in our community and we were, you can tell I'm getting sick of a certain type of right-wing account. But it's about attesting and beautifully articulating now. Who are we right now? What are we? What is Michigan? Right? That's what Michigan Enjoyer was. It was, what really is Michigan? What is it like to be a hunter there? What is it like to live in Traverse City? What is Detroit like these days? My favorite thing now is this guy, I have him on my podcast. His name is Jay Murray, and he's like a hockey dad. He's like 6'5". He was like a total random Twitter guy, like with 300 followers. When we found him, I was like, hey, you want to write about Michigan? Yeah. And he was like, yeah, do I? And he has become like their star journalist. And he's like so naturally Michigan because he's this like big, lunky, like hockey dad type. And he goes and like does like little investigative reports on his video. And it gets like, they get millions of views because he's so like actually Michigan, Okay. And he's not sitting there just like writing articles about like, I don't like Gretchen Whitmer. It's actually, you're seeing who he is, what his experience is like. And it's like really attractive. It's like, it's cute. It's funny. It's hilarious. It's like, hey, this is what being a white guy in Michigan is like today, because what is being a white guy like today? I mean, being a white guy sucks so bad that you're like, I'm not saying it sucks so bad overall. It sucks so bad in so many superficial ways that people want to go back or they want to go forward. They want to go like, let me start my network state with crypto because I just don't want to be in this world anymore where everybody hates me. Or let me go back to Roman times where I can, rape and pillage as I see fit. Whereas it's like, you know what? Like, actually, what we need is the story of right now and like where you are. What is it like to actually be you? And what's the beauty of it? Because you know what? It's actually not that bad. Like, I live in LA. I'm in the belly of the beast. My life is actually pretty fucking sick in a lot of ways, right? It's ironic. It's weird. It's weird to go on a plane and have like the black stewardess like hate you and refuse to not only like genuinely fucking hate you. You know what I mean? it's funny to be in this world as a white guy. It's a funny existence. It's a weird, because it's like in some ways it is better, and in some ways it's way worse. And it's like you get treated in these odd ways. That we need a lifestyle publication that is about that, you know?
Okay. All right.
And that's where I'm trying to head. Sorry,
Okay.
that was talking your ear
No,
off.
I love this. No, I love it, and that's why I do this show so people can talk my ear off. Lifestyle. What do you mean by that? That's a genre. Could you? And I think you just defined it by talking about that guy. But like, what
Yeah,
would be?
lifestyle.
Because Rye Nationalist and Lomez, they started these publications that are kind of they have like this lifestyle thing. They're super edgy and mimetic and stuff like that. But you're thinking of something a little bit more less anonymous would be the first step, right?
Yeah. And again, like not about politicking, not about describing the political atmosphere and what Heidegger said about the this situation, and how do we intellectualize the problem? And you know what we really need is we need a patronage network, which will work in this way. And we need some new arts institutions that,
Yeah.
if we listen to Ernst Younger, we can do. It's like, no, we don't need intellectualism. I mean, look, I'm not saying we don't also need intellectualism. The right loves intellectualism. Fine, let those guys do their fucking intellectual thing. That's not lifestyle, though.
Okay.
Lifestyle is the opposite of intellectualism. Lifestyle is GQ. It's Playboy. It's Barstool Sports. It's Vice in its day. None of those things were about debate class. They were about a vibe. They were about a feeling of this is what it's like to be a guy who's into Barstool, whatever. Like, I remember reading those Barstool early articles. They were great. And they all were in the same language. It didn't matter which writer was writing it. It didn't matter really what it was saying. It all had this tongue-in-cheek bro parlance. She's a complete smoke shop. She's a complete smoker, built for sex, built for sex. It's gross. I'm not saying it's like great, but I'm saying it was like
Yeah.
they talked in a way that really made it clear that this was a culture. This was a thing, a lifestyle. It was, and in reading it and being a part of it, you felt, oh, I'm part of this. I mean, I'm like so not even really one of those guys. And I loved it because it was just like you could really like feel it. And it was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I? How does one be intentionally genuine?
Intentionally genuine.
Intentionally
Can you
authentic.
not? Does intent ruin authenticity?
Does it not?
I don't think they're mutually exclusive, are they?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Conceptually, it's a good question.
Well, because
Intent and authenticity.
you would always describe yourself negatively as not a propagandist, even though I mean you're tongue in cheek.
No,
a propagandist,
I am
right?
a propagandist. I fully am a propagandist.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
No,
So,
I am. I definitely am.
but and you manipulate people.
No, that's
No.
not what the word propaganda means.
Okay.
Propaganda, you know this. Comes from the word propagate. So it actually was a Catholic Church word. So it was just getting the message out.
Okay.
It was just, here's the message of God. We're going to do it in this way, blah, blah, blah. That's really what it means. It became associated with deception,
Okay.
really in the era of Walter Lippmann and Edward Bernays. And they made it this like magical way to manipulate the masses. And
Yeah.
then it continued to have that reputation, of course, through the Soviets, right? So it got this nefarious meaning of we need to move the sheep with these tactics. And that really does come from Lippmann. That's a Walter Lippmann. He's sort of the originator of that whole thing.
Was he related to Freud? There's one guy like at the head of
That's
the ad
Bernays.
stuff. Okay,
That's
Bernays,
Bernays.
right?
Bernays
Yeah,
was
okay.
Freud's cousin.
Right.
Both those guys are given way too much credit, though. It's
Huh.
well, I know we're going to talk about Jews in a second, so I can say it's a very it's a very goy brained. People think that it's like Bernays behind the scenes, like pulling the string. It's like Bernays was basically the equivalent of like a Malcolm Gladwell. He was just like, yeah, I kind of dabbled. That's not exactly correct. It would be like somebody who kind of dabbled in an industry and then wrote a really famous book about the industry.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of what that would be, but like he was sort of a pop psychology. Like these books are not. It's not that he did it a little bit. He did have he. I will say, you know what? He's the father of Bernays. Is the 17 doctors say he
Oh,
founded that tactic.
are you meant by
Yeah,
authority? Yeah.
yeah, which is really bad and shady and like not good. So
Yeah.
I will say he's certainly not totally innocent. But for the most part, it's not. He wasn't this like complete wizard. Lippmann was way shadier than Bernays because Lippmann was basically saying he was elite theory. He was saying the sheep will never get it. So we need to basically get the sheep to just do what we say because we need to have a group of elite men who can figure out how to get the sheep to
Mm.
follow along because the
Hmm.
sheep cannot be trusted to make decisions themselves.
Okay.
Right. That was sort of his thing.
Which is true to a certain extent. What's your opinion on that?
I'm a populist. I'm a populist in my soul. You know, as I
What does
said,
that mean?
MAGA. A populist. MAGA is definitely a populist slogan. A
Were you
populist is
early?
like a.
Were you
Oh
MAGA
yeah,
before it was cool?
yes, very early. I
Really?
was. I was definitely. I was
How did you know?
2015.
There was a
Um,
sense that you had about this. You're like, this is the
I had a
thing.
friend. It's really funny. I had a black friend who later became super woke. So it's really funny that this happened. And he was always very, very like on to new styles. Like he was like really smart and really
Hmm.
like very cool, like a very cool guy,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
not in like a lame like way that people are probably thinking. Like he was actually really, really cool, like legitimately cool. And he always sort of understood where things were headed. And I
Hmm.
remember really early on. I mean, I'm talking about escalator speech, the very beginning, like when the hat first came out, he had one and he wore it around LA. And I was like, damn, that's like weird. Like I've never even seen anything like that. And that kind of got me into, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. Like I understood that there was a genuine like populist uprising occurring. And I could see it. And Trump was just so fucking hilarious that it was like, oh hell, how can I not vote for? I mean, this is just
Yeah.
so entertaining.
Yeah.
Uh,
People.
so
Yeah. Yeah. That humor that he has. If that's what triggers the libs, if I may use
yeah,
a term, more than anything, because they don't get the
totally.
humor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he
No, he
cuts through.
reminds
He
them. Yeah.
undermines. It reminds him in what? Could you articulate? You're about to
No, no,
articulate that.
sorry. No, no,
No,
what
why?
you were
Why?
saying.
Why does it trigger them so much? I mean, I have
It
family members who just get so mad at him, and I'm like, "This," but he's hilarious.
it's because they were all told that that is bad behavior. You know,
So
they
they
were
got Lippmann.
told I don't know if they got Lippmann. I think they were just told that men do not behave that way. You know, men do not say these things. A gentleman does not would never dare make these crass comments about women's appearances. What is this? You know, and it's true. Like, dude,
Respectability.
and you know what? I'll tell you. The more successful I get, the more I recognize the power and the importance of remaining chill and cool and respectful and calm and nice and professional. I completely get it. I get successful people optimize for those traits. There was a great interview recently with somebody who was preparing for a role in one of those finance movies. I think it was Margin Call or something. And he said that he hung out with a bunch of these master of the universe private equity guys. And the thing that they all shared in common was total calmness. Their voice like never raises above a, you know, very calm. They might be saying the most horrible thing in the world, but they just completely remain calm and professional and utterly
Hmm.
unfazed. And I think that for a very long time, that was the accepted, you know, the accepted way that business was done. It's how politicians spoke. It's how
Hmm.
businessmen got business done. And an indicator of somebody who was simply not going to make it was an inability to control one's crass behaviors. And I think, you know,
It's
Obama,
that Patrick Bateman meme, like dude, cut out with the anti-Semitism, like that
Yeah,
mass murderer. It's like,
yeah. Cool with the anti-Semitic remarks, but
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And Trump flipped that over.
Well, I think things had just gotten so bad. I think the
Hmm.
problem is that the calm speakers, they didn't realize how bad things had gotten. They didn't realize how far things had gone.
Hmm.
And that you need that. You need those crazy motherfuckers to shake things up occasionally. You need your Andrew Jackson. You need your Teddy Roosevelt. The people get sick of that boring shit. Oh, after a certain amount of time, especially if things are not going well, right? If things are not going well and you're giving them the same calm stuff, they're going to try to find somebody who speaks to them a little more like how they talk to each other, I think. And I think that that's what Trump really was, more or less.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You said as you get more successful, are you mingling with people who are more chill, or are you becoming more like that?
I just recognize the necessity of being like that myself.
Yeah.
I see in the world that I'm in. I hire a lot of weirdos from the internet, and I can see that the biggest indicator, the number one indicator of lack of ability to succeed and move up, is inability to control one's tenor and general appropriate level of behavior. I really do get it
Hmm.
now. I think I never got that before, really, because I was always a whatever, man, like stop controlling me. Like, but now I
Mm-hmm.
do get it. I get that it's like if somebody can't be trusted to keep it the fuck together, they really can't get very far in any company because you're just never going to get out of the initial phase because you can't be trusted because it's like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
we're entrusting you with this very important thing. We don't even know if you can not yell at us because you were pissed off today. You know what I mean? Like I get
Yeah.
the perspective of HR more than I ever have before.
Huh.
I do understand it. I think it went way too far. And you need to allow people to be a little crazy, and you got to allow people to, particularly in creative environments, say whatever they want. So I'm not saying I'm a complete HR person now, but I get it more.
Yeah. Is your company big enough to have HR? I guess HR is
Oh,
just a thing. I mean, it's just an aspect of any business.
we will
Humanity
never
is your
have HR.
resource.
We will
No.
never ever have HR. Oh no, that's like a commitment that I've made. We will never,
Huh.
never, ever, ever, ever have HR. I'm against HR on a fundamental level. I think it's horrible, and the whole reason for the existence of Lil is so HR doesn't exist. So no, we will never have HR. We're not big enough now to have it. We're not far though. If we got a little bit bigger, we could feasibly like have an HR person.
Is this? Are you you're the head of this company, or
Yeah.
is it like okay? So what's it been like to grow something? Is this your first main like
Oh yeah.
business?
Yeah. My everything.
How is it?
My
What's it like going from one stage to the next stage in terms of growth, development, and
in a
power?
core sense, it's exciting and awesome. It's in a core sense, it's really great and it feels really good. And I'm sure you can relate to this. Those doing what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing, right? And you can feel that when you start doing what you're supposed to be doing, you can feel it.
Yeah.
You can like in your day-to-day being, you just feel differently. So it sort of started with that. But then there's the nagging fear of, okay, what is this? Is this going to work? Is this legitimate? Is this just a complete clown thing that I'm doing?
Hmm.
But once it starts rolling, you start getting wins and you start getting money and you start blah, blah, blah. And, it feels really, really good. So overall, it feels fantastic. I think everybody should do it, etc. That said, how much time do I spend doing creative now? Very little. I spend most of my time doing business stuff, which is like not that good for the soul, and not that, it's kind of, you're always like, ugh, you're always kind of like, there's not a lot of like,
By business stuff, you mean getting accounts and managing
yeah,
accounts. The more Roger
right.
Sterling than Don Draper. And
Yes, much more Roger Sterling than Don Draper. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, there's an endless paperwork, and oh, we got to make sure our contract is this, and we got to here's the finance thing, and here's the you know, it's and also controlling people. You know, that's you're controlling people is what a business person has to do, and making sure they're not,
Hmm.
you know, doing ridiculous behaviors and stuff, which I don't like doing that at all. I actually hate that part of it,
Hmm.
but
What
that's why
what
people get HR.
yeah, what resource do you draw upon to manage humanity, to make a
Well, so I
labored
used
poem?
to be, my whole thing used to be being like really over the top insane, like on purpose, you know? I used to be like I'm gonna be like, you know, uh really over the top. You know what I mean? Like because that was kind of the point. Like it was like, come here, you get to be crazy, everybody gets to be crazy. If you fuck up, I'm gonna call you a stupid gay retard. You know, if you can call me a evil Jew, parasite boss. You know, like we can, you know, we everybody gets to talk to each other exactly how they
Yeah.
want. And I think that that is the reason for our success, is being able to contain that freedom.
Yeah.
But I will
But
say I don't flip out. I try. I can't flip out anymore. In the ways I used to flip out at people, I used to kind of be this like, you know, I wanted to bring it back to like the era of Hollywood where the agent would throw the phone at your head if you fucked up. You know, I kind of wanted to
yeah.
bring that back, but I've definitely calmed down a lot in the past year because I've just learned
Hmm.
it's if you treat people that way, even if it's funny, even if it's tongue in cheek and funny, uh, it's creates probably more headaches than it's worth because not
Yeah.
everybody gets it. You know, people don't get the tongue in cheek part. A lot of times, they think you're really serious, or you know.
Well, I
And
mean,
so I
it's dangerous to not assume that you're serious, especially if you're the boss. So it's like really
exactly
difficult. Authority, yeah, having authority changes.
totally, and you can't be a complete fucking psych. Like the more you flip out. This is again same point. The more you flip out, the more you lose your cool, the less people respect you. You know, that's what I've seen. The more
Mm.
you can remain positive, calm, and cool, and blah blah, the more people garner respect for you. The more you lose your shit and have little bitch meltdowns, which I do all the time still, the more people are like, ugh,
Yeah.
this guy's not cool. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
How's you're Jewish by practice?
yeah. I'm one of
We
the
had a
few who's
conversation.
who's like that.
And
Yeah.
like one of our, I think it was our first conversation. You had such disdain for, I think it was the Reformed Jews. I think it was.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reform.
How's your
Reform.
practice going? What are you Orthodox? I guess you're what strain or
Yeah.
line
Okay.
do
So
you run?
I'm what's called a Chabad Jew, and
Chabad.
a Chabad Jew is like it's
It's
like
modern, but not too modern
no, it's I'm trying to think of an equivalent of Chabad.
in the Christian world.
Yeah, probably. Oh God, it's like there's really no exact analog.
Hmm. Not like Quakers or
No,
Shakers
it's
or.
not like Quakers. It would be like, is there a part of Christianity where the purveyors of it are much more religious? I mean, I guess this is probably true of all Christianity, right? But particularly a lot more religious than their flock. You know, like does that exist where it's
Hmm.
like kind of their core function is to stick with the truest form of the religion, but simultaneously that attracts sort of actually the most lapsed Christians in a way, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that make
No,
sense?
I think I don't know if there's an analog in the Christianities that I know, but you're saying that so there's the rabbi, and they hold the faith,
And they hold it very strongly. So
but
like
they don't demand that of you. They kind of
yeah,
hold
that's yeah,
that for the community.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
I think that that's probably an aspect of Judaism that's always exists, or a strain of Judaic practice.
Well, I mean, so there's Chabad is great. Chabad is really like a very positive, non it's a part of Judaism that is really very attractive to people like me because it's
Hmm.
fundamentalist in its own practices, right? But it is the sort of the purpose of it is to bring in lapsed Jews. Like that's not its only purpose, but that's a big function of what it does.
Hmm.
And so um I like that a lot because I don't like the opposite of that would be reform, which is reform is everything is Judaism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're gonna
Reform,
open
yeah,
the temple so
yeah,
that it's
yeah, yeah,
flattened and it's egalitarian. It's the wrong
yeah.
kind of populist. It's
Right,
watering down the inner
exactly.
chamber. So
It's running
and
that so there's
yeah,
no beliefs. There's no you can be in the reform. You can be an atheist reform Jew,
yeah.
which to me is like incredibly sinful, incredibly terrible. Because it's like in Chabad, what I am is just a very disappointing Jew, right? I'm just a Jew who
That
like
sounds
the
like
rabbis,
a very
you
Jewish
know.
state to be in.
But that's what it should be, right? Like I should have a rabbi who's like, here, look, here's the flame of being. This is what you
Yeah.
should be doing. You know, this is what I'm doing. This is what you should be doing. I'm disappointed in the fact that you don't keep Shabbat. You're out there posting bacon, which I just did by accident. You know,
Posting bacon.
you're a disgusting degenerate in all these ways.
Yeah.
And he'll tell me that. He'll say, "Look, you're no better than a gay person. You don't do the rules either. You know, you like you come here and judge gay people. Like is what he'll say to me. You come here and judge the lesbian couple here. You don't keep fucking Shabbat. You know, you don't do any of these things that you supposedly. Oh, Mister Righteous over here." And
Yeah.
he's fucking right. I mean, that keeps me honest because he's like, hey, you don't get to judge other people. If you don't do the rules, you're no better than
Well, what's the
anybody else.
purpose
Yeah.
of interacting with the rules if you're not going to follow them? I'm wondering about your spiritual development. Like I want that's where I'm aiming the conversation to see how your
Well,
religion is developing you.
isn't that true of any religion though? Like you can't. There's always some rules you follow and some you don't, right?
Yeah.
Isn't
But
that
the
always the
tension that
case?
it's well, you brought up that tension as something essential, but maybe it's not essential. It's something that keeps you honest. But what's on the other side of that honesty? Why even interact with the rules
At all,
if you're
if you're not going to keep them.
yeah? What are you
Yeah,
deriving from that in terms of structure, in terms of meaning, in terms of
yeah.
direction
Well,
or
because I think
depth?
it's just believing in God, right? If you
Okay.
genuinely believe in God, which I do,
Yeah.
these people, these rabbis, they are in the business of communing with God in a Jewish, in the most Jewish possible way,
Yeah.
which is
Which
very
which is
Jewish.
what? It's very very rules and ritualistic. Or how
So
would you describe that?
I think I've said this maybe on a prior thing. Judaism is an extremely Jewy religion. It's very Jewy. It's very, and that's kind of like what attracts me to it a little bit. Like the most Jewish thing you can do is study Torah, right? So studying Torah means reading Torah, reading Kabbalah, reading any of these other books that are rooted in it,
Hmm.
and then debating it with your rabbi. That's studying
Okay.
Torah. And that is the single most holy thing in all Judaism. Not going to temple, not praying, not confession, or not worshiping, anything. The most holy thing is studying Torah. And
And by
so,
study, you mean wrestling
well,
collectively
reading
with
it
it.
and then yes, asking, questioning,
Okay.
reading it, and then again, it's not just reading Torah; it's studying Torah. So studying means
Hmm.
interrogating, how really thinking about how does this apply to my life now? How
Yeah.
can I be a better servant of God? Or we wouldn't say servant of God really, but how can you be better connected with God day to day? How can you use your life specifically to try to bring darkness into light, right? How can you use the darkness in your own light, in your own life, as an opportunity to, you know, turn something that's dark for people into something that's lighter for people?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
how do you take that? That's what the mandate, as far as I understand it, from Hasidic Judaism is. It's Look,
Is
you
that
need to,
Tekam
yeah.
Alam is something I've heard kind of
What is
bandying
that? Yeah,
about.
what is Tikkun
Okay, never
Olam
mind.
again? What is that? No, this is this light of the world thing. Is that what that is?
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
can't
I think
remember.
yeah, but it sounds a little woke. That's what I was
Yeah,
getting at.
improve the world. Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
to
is
improve.
something that's like misunderstood by people probably.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
But
I don't know.
again, it goes back to the question: how do you be intentionally? Like, it's like you're not a servant of God, but you are participating in a work of bettering the world. You use the metaphor of turning darkness to light and bringing lightness to darkness. So, but you're supposed to be in doing that intentionally.
Yeah, definitely. You're supposed to be doing it intentionally, and you're supposed to be doing it really on your own behalf. No, I mean that's not true. And on behalf of the world. I mean, there's also 613 mitzvahs. You're supposed to be doing those 613 mitzvahs.
What are these? These are all the things you have to do.
Yes, these are all the things you're supposed to do. You're supposed to
And
do
Gentiles, we
many
only have to
things.
do 7 of them or
Yeah,
something.
you have very few.
Yeah.
Only as much as you can handle. We figure you can do about seven. No, no, yeah, that's. I don't think that's why. But no, look, there's all sorts of chauvinistic elements of Judaism if that's what we want to talk about. But which I
Well,
don't
how do
agree with at
you?
all.
Okay, but so you don't need that. You're not a chauvinistic kind of guy. You're a populist. You're like I have a black friend. I have a gay friend. Even though I have a hard time with gay people, apparently. You're fine interacting with the goyim. I'm sorry if that's a bad word or not. I don't know.
I don't care. I did have a guy get super offended at being called a goy the other day, and I was like, dude, who fucking cares? But yeah, no, I'm not a chauvinist myself personally. But there are many, many, many Jews who would say Jews have a special relationship with God. And Jews are the only
Have
ones
a
who can
better
actually
soul.
have a real soul. Yeah, they're the only ones who are able to commune on this level. They're the only ones who can actually interpret the light of God from the heavens in the right way. And there are
Yeah.
many, many people who would say that. Is it really that different than Christianity? It's different in the sense that uh, I don't think Judaism's any less chauvinistic than Christianity overall, pound for pound, right? Because Christians obviously also are extremely privileged in the religion of Christianity, right? I mean, if you're not a Christian, you're not on the you're not on the
The
squad. You're not
DACA,
getting
yeah.
the benefits. It's just sort of a different range of benefits. And of course, the really big difference is that hardcore Jews believe that it's basically passed down through the mom. So it's not a choice. It's not a I can't choose,
It's not consent
right?
based. Yeah.
There's no consent. I just am, whether I want to or not. And
How is that for you? That's a very foundational belief that gives you destiny,
yeah,
attachment.
man.
Wait, heritage though. Like there's positives and negatives to it. Lineage.
Well, and I will say in today's world, it is very nice to have that because we live in this world where there's no heritage. So it is nice to have this tribe that's just like constantly saying to me, you're part of us, whether you like it or not. Like that's like a nice message to hear. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, I have a family that it's always there for me, whether or not, no matter how anti-Semitic I get. You know what I mean? Like it's like they're always there. Yeah. And that's what's great about Chabad is they really provide that. They're like, hey man, you can go be an anti-Semitic edgelord poster for 10 years, but you can't escape us because your soul is Jewish. And like, sorry. And I do think there's some truth to that. Like I do, when I'm studying Torah with a rabbi and like, there's so many elements of it that are already the way I see the world, and when it's boiled down into this way of talking about it, I'm like, wow, that's already exactly how I looked at it.
Yeah.
Um,
Can you describe overall what that would be? That frame
like,
of seeing the
well,
world
yeah, I
as a
think I
series of
see the
mechanisms
world.
of rituals. Like what is it?
Okay, so like for example, when I go on a bender, right, and I have uh, 2 days or 3 days of feeling horrible shame, right? Of what did I do to my body? I spent all this money. What am I? This is a terrible way of being, right? Where does that shame come from? Does that shame come from society? Does it come from me? Does it, what is that? I believe that shame comes from God, right? That shame comes from you have drawn distance from God into chaos, right? You've
Yeah.
allowed your animalistic behaviors to take control of this godly vessel, and you've gone far away from God, right? You've taken yourself into the darkness. You've done badly, and I think that that really is a relationship with God. I think those feelings come directly from God, and I think that it's similar in Christianity. I think in Christianity there's a similar feeling of like, yes, I do bad things, but at the end of the day, I want to be here to be part of the light of God, right? I want to be part of like I
Mm.
hate to say the word good, because I think that that sells it short, but more of like the greatness and the holiness of God.
Mm.
I don't want to differentiate from that. I want to be part of it with everybody else. I want to be part of whatever's happening here and whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, I behave poorly and I act like an animal, but I want to come back and like be part of the righteous battle. I want to come back and help. Like
Yeah.
I want to be connected. I want to be connected to
Oh no, like
humanity.
Facebook.
Yeah. And that's what Facebook is all about. Let me introduce our new campaign for
Yahweh.
yeah. Stay connected. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Huh.
Yeah. Trying to describe religion, not easy. Not an easy task.
I got a glimpse of you just now in listening to your spiel.
Yeah.
That like I just had a sense that you're becoming more you. Because we've had this is our third
Mm,
conversation, I believe, maybe fourth. Maybe you had me on your channel. I can't remember, but like I feel like you're becoming more of who you are.
interesting.
Like,
That's
and
an
it's
interesting
it
observation.
was in your tone of voice and your animation, and then like some weird like maneuver you made. It's hard to describe, but
Mm,
it's interesting. I think
interesting.
that the I think that that shows me that you're turned on, and you're going. So you're creating content, you're running a business, I think that the podcasts are really good for you. I think that you have more of a presence in interacting, and I think it's a part of the Jewiness of your religion. I think maybe that's part of it. Like it's not just you studying Torah; it's like you with another human being, your rabbi, and that exchange of the vocal tone and your accents and your way of being. You're being connected through that wrestling, that studying, that interrogating and stuff like that. And I think that the podcast world, when done correctly or when engaged with correctly, is a chance for us to
Mm,
actually develop not just the ideas and solutions and problems. Those are context and pretext to this interlocking of the mano y mano, the back and forth. And yeah, I don't know why I'm
well,
propping
thank
up
you. That's a great
that.
compliment. That's a very good compliment.
But yeah, I see that feeding into your development and stuff like that. I don't know. I was. My wife had me cut out alcohol for a month, and now I'm on this thing where I only drink on the weekends and stuff. And
Nice.
so when I reached out to you, it was Friday night, and I was like, and
So you're saying
like,
you
because
regret this? You're saying
no,
this is a
no,
regrettable.
no, because I was thinking like, oh, I should have Isaac on it. I don't know why it was like popping up, but I said something to you in the chat about like Zionism, because
Yeah.
like sometimes it just overflow. It like this thing is a very dangerous thing that's going on right now. And part of the issue that I was interested in interrogating with you is that why is Israel such a bad, it's like you think that the Jews would have the best media presence, but it seems like they're making a lot of errors on like promoting themselves. Like if you were put in charge of Israel's like ad campaign or internet presence, like what would you do differently to not like,
God.
it seems like they're riling up all these things. And then also there's like a media ecosystem where where you get a lot of traction if you critique these people, and then they go back at you. There's the ADL. There's all this vested interest. It's just like racism. Like racism in America is never going to go away because too many people make too much money off of it.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And that's what's about to happen with anti-Semitism. Because now people just want to talk about it. They want to have the discussion. They're ready to talk about it because they haven't been allowed to talk about it for 80 years, right? It's been off the table. And so now it's like just everybody wants to talk about this topic. Okay, so as far as it goes with the PR, I could not agree more, and I am surrounded by Jews every single day who could not agree more about these disgusting, pathetic tactics, the blue square, the destroying anybody who
it was stop Jewish hate, Israel. Right? Was that the hashtag? Oh, and you could read that either way, you know.
Yeah. Wait. How could I heard this before? What is it? Stop Jewish hate or stop? What else would it go?
Like, no, it's either stop the hate against Jews or stop the Jews hating, like Jewish hate.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Stop Jewish hate. My genuine feeling about the Jews are actually far less ethno-narcissistic than people think. They're not. We're not sitting around having, like, let's get the goyim to the animals.
And you'll be able to find a few Jews here and there who will say such things, and then
of course. And the religion, I won't lie. As I said, the religion is chauvinistic, but every religion is chauvinistic in its own way. It's not more chauvinistic than Islam, right? Which says we literally need to conquer the world because everybody who's not an Islamic person is an animal, to be sacrificed. It's equally it's not that bad. I think Christianity also has its chauvinistic elements as well. If you don't accept Jesus, you're going to hell, basically. I mean, you're not on the thing. The Jewish chauvinistic elements do tend to be pretty infuriatingly elitist. In the sense where it's like, this is our thing. We're not trying to get you into our thing, but if you're in the club, you're in the club. If you're out, you're out. But it's like Jewish misbehavior, which absolutely exists, absolutely needs to be criticized, just like any group, by the way, should be made fun of ruthlessly, in my opinion. Every group should. It is not exclusive to Gentiles at all. Just like how black and black crime is far worse than black on white crime, Jew on Jew, Jewishness
hate
is far worse. The people I've been fucked over by far in my life are all Jewish.
Yeah.
I never got any special dispensation. Of course there's a little bit of well, we're the same thing. We have the same rough thing, but it's not some code of it's us against everybody and we never betray each other. It's that could not be further from the truth.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, but it's the Jews are turning everybody into trannies. Trans, rainbow, all that stuff. That was far bigger in Reform Judaism long before Christianity. So I have 2 cousins, 3 trans, married a complete Christian, married a Filipino guy. It's not like there's this special code and we're not betraying the family. Jews are the most subversive to Jews. It's just a behavior. It's just Jews. I will agree that there is a outsider sort of mentality in the soul of Jews. And it's, people are going to say this is anti-Semitic. Read the Torah. It's been there since the Torah, right? It's about we get kicked out of a place, we go to a new place.
Yeah.
How
does that inform you? Or impact you?
Who could be more of this was the solution for me to stop hating myself as a Jew, which was I'm the perfect example of this. All I am is trying to eat away and destroy at the liberal fuck world that I come from. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
the most subversive Jew of all. I'd say so. Like, in a way, I'm actually more Jewish than my cousins and everybody who are just basic ass reform people. Um, so look, it exists. There is Jewish behavior. I see it with my family. I see it with friends. I see it with, look, there are Jewish behaviors. Yes, there are. Some of them are really bad. Some of them are terrible. Some of them are despicable, right?
But some are not those
But
things, or
some are
the
not.
opposite
Yeah, so
of
some
those
are
things.
not that. Some can be really beneficial. Some can be great. Some can be amazing. It's just it's a people like any other. I really think the issue is just that it's been banned to have this discussion for so long. So that drove people kind of nuts, right? It drove people insane because they weren't able to talk about this thing, right? And it wasn't okay. You weren't allowed to say it. And it's like, well, that's not, you can't enforce that forever. It's one, even if you could enforce it, enforcing it would be completely evil because then it's like, okay, you're talking about this extremely powerful group that you cannot criticize. That's like the least American thing imaginable. Oh, here's this special group. By the way, they own every building in New York City, but you can't say anything bad about it. They're your landlord, but you better not say anything bad about your landlord. Like, no, that is deeply un-American. Like, you got to be able to talk shit about whoever you want. That's the number one thing of being American.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little bit of the issue. And I think that, Jewish people are not as smart as people think. They're really not that
Well, there's verbal
aware.
intelligence. Oh,
Yeah,
that
like
aware.
they're
What do you
they're
mean?
not they're not anywhere near as aware as people think. They're not just not thinking about it. They don't think it out. They don't think in their head, I am a foreign entity in this community, and my feelings about reducing the power of the incumbent, which would maybe be the waspy white person, perhaps are maybe those aren't just pure, goodness or maybe there's a self-interest there. They're just not aware of it. They very few have the self-awareness to understand you are actually fighting a battle here against these people in a way, right? They just don't get it. I think they don't see it, for most of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The I guess, well, both on the right and the left, and then the middle. Israel's become like just such a hot topic, and the pushing and the investigating. Why do we have a special relationship with this other country? And you brought up something that was really interesting when you're saying it was just kind of offhanded, but it seems essential. Or another line of inquiry is, what is an American? You said this is deeply un-American to silence speech and stuff, like, which is like kind of a surface level First Amendment issue, but that make America great again. The other aspect of the right that needs to happen, besides criticizing Israel or investigating why we have such a special relationship with that, is what is a positive identity? What is the positive American identity? And we get Israel or so-called anti-Semitism or so-called racism are all, again, negative, reactionary in the worst possible form, or like in the lowest possible form, reactionary elements of the right, but it's not a positive vision. What is an American? What is a Westerner? Like, because then you bring up the UK, and the fascinating thing about discourse in the last couple of years is like the two different tracks between the UK, or specifically England. Is England for the English, and is Israel for the Israelis? And what do they do with the outsider-insider distinction? And why does why is one given in our discourse, one given prevalence and given support, and the other one is being undermined at every possible turn, being the English? The English,
Right.
England is no longer for the English. In the same way that Israel is for, or Israel is agitating for, Israel for the Israelis, or they say Jews, but there might be a slight distinction that you can get into there.
Yeah.
But those two different twin paths of identity, national identity, America has a completely different relationship to it, but we're facilitating both. oddly
Yeah.
enough. Our global
Yep.
empire is destabilizing one
Totally.
and
Yep.
instituting the other, and it's really fascinating. So those are two outliers on what a national identity is. In America, we have
Hmm.
to make up. We have to deal with the multiculturalism that's in our DNA,
Yeah.
and so the whatever direction that the right wing racialist discourse is headed, I don't see how America can institute that. But you see it in some sort of necessity or some sort of desire for people to have what you were saying when you said, like, I am born of this people. I have a
Yeah.
heritage, no matter what.
Totally. Absolutely.
I threw a lot of things out there. I don't know where the question was.
Yeah. I will say that look, all of this is coming to a head now.
Yeah.
These questions have always been there. I've always had them. I've always seen the immense hypocrisy of Americanism being fundamentally anti-ethno state, yet Israel is the ultimate ethno state. So, like, what the hell are we doing? Um, that said, it is the ethno state in some ways. It's also like the weird thing is that like the groups that make up Israel could be extremely genetically different, even more so than the English, right? I mean, if you look at it as Mizrahi Jew next to the Sephardic Jew next to the Ashkenazi Jew, they're really different, right?
Yeah.
So yes, there is a massive hypocrisy in the Americanist viewpoint being no borders, neoliberalism, everybody, let's have no borders to
Propositional
everything.
nation.
Yeah, everything is propositional. Everything is, this sort of aspirational thrive wherever you can cut it. That's what America it really is about. And yeah, supporting a ethno-religious state could not be less that, right? And I think that that's a very, very glaring, obvious issue that, these people like Ben Shapiro, it would be so much nicer if he just fucking admitted it. I think the way that they're doing it now is saying, okay, let's take the money America gives Israel, let's stop giving that money to Israel, right? That's what like the sort of more intelligent Jews are saying now, because it's like, oh, it doesn't really need it. Israel's fine on its own. I don't actually think that's true, but that's what they say. And so that will be the answer, which is like, well, America just needs to sort of decouple from Israel so Israel can go and be purely Jewish, right? Yeah. So I think that's kind of the state of that question. But ultimately, I think the values of America are staunchly anti what Israel is now. I mean, maybe in prior times before, it made more sense because it was escaping and we're making sure democracy, Middle East, helping the little guy, no eradicating this group. But now, at this point, that's just not a viable excuse anymore, right?
What's the sentiment among the Chabad of the?
Yeah, well, Chabad's very interesting because they're all about God. They're all about religion. They
What
really
about the Holy
dislike.
Land?
So they dislike the intermingling between the political state of Israel and the holy mission of Israel. They hate that. And they hate that the leftist experiment of political Israel, which was leftist from the beginning, kind of used their thing. It kind of was like, oh, hey, the Jews are here. And they're like, wait a second. Yeah, we're here doing worshiping stuff. We're not here to like make a state, So they're a little like, they don't want to get involved in that. They're like, we don't want to get involved in the state of Israel. That's not our thing. We focus on God. We focus on doing the Torah. And there's varying degrees of belief about, in order for the Messiah to come back, we got to all be there. We have to be doing this, yada, yada. That's an endless debate. I don't even know it well enough to like understand
You're not interested in the messianic aspects.
I will say the one thing, this is very sacrilegious, but the the one thing of any religion that I disagree with is messianic. I'm sort of anti messiah stuff. I mean, to be really perfectly honest, I mean Jesus like pretty much was the. I mean, like, it was very like if you read the book, it's like it's pretty obvious that they were talking. If there was a prediction to be made at all, it's pretty obvious that they were talking about whatever Jesus became. Yeah, maybe it was all a metaphor. This is the world we lived in. What do we do now? 2,000 years after the Messiah. What do you do now? We're still here. Like, look, this is so far above my pay grade. I don't want to say anything that offends anybody. I don't really hold these beliefs super strong. I don't really know. But I will say, like, no, I don't think that, like, oh, we need to hold the state of Israel in order for the Messiah to come back. Like, I completely reject that.
Yeah.
I think it's about living, and I think my rabbi would agree. I think really your mission as a Jew should be to live a righteous life in communion with the light of God, trying to bring more of that light into the world for everybody. Is what I would say.
I derived a sense of bright purpose from you, especially when we're talking about the lifestyle aspect of the of whatever it is to be not left or to be right wing. I've been listening to the younger guys, and they're kind of in a tight spot now, and it kind of you can see why Fuentes is getting traction, but I don't know to what extent his traction is just because he's a brilliant speaker and talented in that way, and I don't know where the political energy is going, but there's an agitation for a reconfiguration of the ethnic quality of the white American of European extraction, and they're doing iconoclastic smashing of different post-war consensus truisms or myths, and one of them is that the Jews are basically the sacred victim of our era, and so they have a special carve out, and they're already way past the whole black people are oppressed, so you need to live your life in service to them kind of thing. But there's another step beyond the like the breaking off of the chains. There's a need for a certain type of chauvinism or pride in who they are, what they are, and I think that the aspect that you're bringing out, that you're focusing on, that lifestyle thing, so like just be who you are and face who you are right now. Don't look back and don't look forward. I mean, of course, like think in terms of time, but like really understand who you are right now and see it for the good and the bad, and get a fuller picture of that, and that by going through the process of connecting to the now, you actually become more alive, and then more actually aware of like what you should do or what you actually need, rather than in this realm of lights and sounds, this Luciferian kind of ideological mimetic landscape, which is fun and we all dabble in it, and that's just a part of our life now. Information and ads are just a part of our life now, but that the fullness of being is not going to be unlocked by anything less than a full embodiment. And your ethnicity and your religious identity, all these tiers of identity, are going to participate in it. I don't know where I'm trying to open up or trying to describe how what you're bringing to the conversation kind of helps me understand what is needed. But is that term lifestyle, which is funny.
But what is your perspective? What were you saying about Fuentes? So, like, where do you land on what Fuentes is doing?
Well, he's a comedian, and this is the interesting thing about our discourse, is that the most, it seems like the most relevant influence means like coming from above. It used to mean a star or something like that. It's all kind of related to a celestial, like shining light on something, or being like infused or influencing. it seems to be the case the last 10 years or so that comedians are the ones who are shaping the conversation in a lot of ways. And, you know, like you have the Rogans and you have the David Smiths and the Konstantin Kissins and a lot of these people who have a lot of traction in this world. They're just basically really talented at communicating. That's what they're doing. And I don't know if Fuentes, I think he's able to articulate things, and he's able to transform a lot of the angst by bringing it to the surface and presenting it. But I don't know where that goes. And it seems like as a political operator, he constantly shoots himself in the foot. He's a kind of a wild card. He hasn't learned the lessons that you were detailing earlier about actually you need to be steady for people to trust you. If you actually want to move into the realm of power and influence, you need to like actually become more steady and calm. And I think he's going to go on a plot arc that's, because he's so talented, I think he'll have a developmental plot arc. But part of the stuff of that development is going to be shedding off certain of the edgiest aspects of it that were always kind of tongue-in-cheek too. So I don't know. I think that the relationship to him should not be one of like being afraid of him or throwing him down, but like actually seeing him as somebody who's on a plot arc that can be aimed in one direction or another. If you go alongside him, you'll get a lot more, you'll do a lot more to influence him than if you go against him in any given way.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I think that a lot of the understanding how everyone works in this discourse is that if you get alongside them, you can actually change the discourse rather than direct confrontation. The direct confrontation, the debate stuff, it's an event that doesn't necessarily shape anything, but it's, you know, the Andrew Wilsons, the people who are really good at you know, just tearing down their opponent or making great arguments. Those are I don't think that they are. That's one style of shaping discourse. It's a necessary style, but there's also the other style of like just understanding people and then like asking them questions in such a way where they start to interrogate not just the world but themselves and the relationship between them.
Totally. No, I agree. I like Fuentes. I think that I don't think he's actually as hateful as people give him, you know, what? Okay, so is he bringing darkness into the light or light into the dark? In ways, he's bringing darkness into the light in the sense that he's a voice for men who really feel screwed, right? He is talking in a language publicly and describing things publicly and giving a voice to certainly a type of young man who is facing this world, right? And facing the day-to-day frustrations of female-dominated workplaces, racist hiring, Jew landlords, you know? You can't criticize.
And black slums,
Black being beaten by blacks in real life. And, you know, Fuentes, it's like, dude, go back and listen to a fucking Eminem album from 2000, whatever. He's raping everyone. He is killing gay people. He could not be more
sexually assaulting,
like,
everybody else.
Literally, everybody is a queer who needs to be killed, or, you know, a woman who needs to be beaten and then raped and then killed. Like, okay, are we saying Eminem is Eminem a hateful person who needs to be put in jail? Like, no, right? But for whatever reason, people can't see that that's what Fuentes is.
Yeah.
Fuentes is just doing that same thing. He's just giving a voice to this like male frustration that, you know, everybody has. And to try to tamp down on that is so...
Or finger wag.
You're never going to kill it. You know,
my mom was in the Hully. Like instant mimetic magic. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's an art form.
It's such a
artist.
Right. It's an art form, exactly. And it's so funny also that now we've entered this phase where art is so infused by politics. Everybody wants to be talking about politics. All the movies are now about politics. Politics has just infected everything. And it's funny that like Eminem of our time is, of course, a political talker.
Comedian.
It's
Yeah,
like the
yeah, yeah,
perfect thing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, Isaac, what's a project coming up, or where are you putting your content insofar as you're getting any content, squeezing any content out into the void?
Okay. Well, we have a bunch of great work that's coming out that if you follow the Will the Agency Twitter account, you'll see that there. I still do my podcast, try to do it about once a week. Really not ton of effort going into there. I just sort of keep it going
Mm-hmm.
as much as I can.
Yeah.
Not doing any writing, but I will say I can't say anything quite about it yet,
Mm.
but a massive thing is coming down the pipe in terms of this lifestyle conversation we were just having.
Mm.
So everybody keep an eye out in the near future.
That's word on the street. Cool. Do you have any extracurricular things that you want to share about the big city you're in? Something awesome that you found or that you love about the
It's
city?
a beautiful day.
Yeah, I get to see
Gorgeous,
birds out
gorgeous
behind
day.
you. There's a nice water tower reflecting in your TV.
Yeah, it feels like it's like
It's a great
60
shot.
degrees out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if there's snow mounds, so like half the cars, like bright sun, but half the cars are like buried in snow. So it's
Oh,
kind
okay.
of cool.
I didn't know that they
Yeah.
had such stormy weather. What do you like
I'll leave
most
you
about
with
it?
one.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave you with one thought. So I was just in London also, and I'm here in New York. There's a weird thing going on with like the North and like northern cities where everything seems really stuck in time. They seem really like there's not a lot of energy on the streets. Everybody gives you this kind of weird quizzical look. In London, it's more of this depressed look. Like London people have it down to a perfect science. They give you this just look like, ugh, oh, here we go. Whereas New York people still have that kind of like narcissistic gleam in their eyes, but they kind of give you this look like now. It used to be like, oh, you're in Soho, everybody's parading down to everybody's kind of drunk. They're all parading everywhere. Everybody's, hey, life in the big city. Now everybody kind of gives you this side-eyed glance, like, what are we supposed to be doing here again? Are we supposed to be doing something? And like everything is kind of closed, and these northern places are really having a bad moment. They feel really stuck. Chicago is oh my God, Chicago is like destroyed. Like nothing even works in Chicago. Whereas then you go to Miami, and Miami feels like it's like got a heartbeat. It's got like a pulse. Austin is exciting. Even LA is like doing pretty well. So here's my latest thesis: is there's this like north-south divide kind of happening in vibes.
Huh? Yeah. What you didn't mention Canada.
Canada, who knows what's going on in Canada? I don't know what's happening.
Interesting. Isaac, awesome to talk to you. Thanks a lot for coming on. I'll link to your work down there in the description, and God bless you. Thanks for bringing a little bit of light into this dark cove of mine.
Dark world. All right. Thank you so much, man. I'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Peace.